At dailynews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Coming up in news on this Wednesday, it's homecoming week at Clinton High School. Workforce Investment Solutions is promoting a big September for the organization. They're an agency that is connecting employers and employees in Central Illinois. We'll hear about them coming up in news today. The Department of Natural Resources is promoting new hunting regulations for parts of Central Illinois this fall. And the St. Louis District Dairy Council's theme for September is yogurt and its versatility. But first, we stream to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Homecoming is an exciting time for high schoolers with dances and big football games, and there's plenty to look forward to this week. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Clinton High School Principal Jerry Wayne says it's homecoming week at Clinton High School. It's a little early this year due to scheduling challenges with football games and the Apple and Pork Festival.
Matt and I talked about this last year towards the end. It wasn't the very end of the school year, but we're trying to figure out when do we want to set homecoming. And unfortunately this year, with the dates of everything and the football field being done and all of the other things that are going on, presented some challenges of, okay, well, what's this going to look like? Because the earlier said it, we worried about, okay, making sure everything's done, which obviously it is. But then we run into issues with the timing of our home games later on in the season. With Apple and Pork, obviously, is not a weekend we can really do a homecoming week because there's too many other obligations for everybody in our community. And it just started to become a really challenging moment to try to figure out, because there just seemed to be something on every single home weekend to try to schedule things. So it fell on this one. It isn't ideal. Certainly presents its own set of challenges from a lot of different directions, but here we are, and the kids are always excited about homecoming week. For me, not necessarily as excited, though there are a lot of exciting events in it. It just presents its own set of challenges.
Principal Wayne notes some of the themes for Spirit Week, a fun-filled week for staff and students to dress up and show school spirit. He says even the community is getting into the act this week.
Well, of course, we always have our Spirit Weeks, our Spirit Days that are going to go on. Today is, if you see people at the high school, it's Minion Day, so we get lots of colorful yellow shirts, the dark gloves, and the blue shorts, and then of course the infamous glasses that will end up showing off as an element of it. There's going to be an interesting day that they decided they wanted this year. I think it's Thursday, I believe, is going to end up being where teachers dress like students and students dress like teachers. So that'll be an interesting one to see how that one goes out. And I'm hopeful all of that goes well. It's really fun. I tell you, one of the things that I think I like, though homecoming presents challenge administratively, because you're trying to create rules and guidelines, especially this early in the year where everybody's following. Then you get to homecoming and it's like, nobody really wants to follow any of them, because it's supposed to be a fun time, an exciting time. But what I really enjoy most about it is the fact that we get everybody in the community gets to be involved. And I think one of the things that the kids are most excited about, and I know that we have some members over there that are really excited about it, is Liberty Village is really getting into it. They wanted to know what our dress-up days were and let the guests there that are at Liberty Village be involved in it. We're going to, Friday, when our kids go and football team and cheerleaders go and welcome in our CES students like we have over the last several years, and they get done and leave, they're going to end up going into Liberty Village and kind of go by and see all of the different people there and kind of high fives and stuff like that. So I really enjoy the fact that we get to come together as a community. That whole spirit of what homecoming's really about is something that is really nice, and I think our community does a really good job of coming together and really supporting the notion of that.
Wayne also notes the Powder Puff football game is indoors this year. There's a change that is a change that was made in the past due to inclement weather, but they've decided to keep it that way because it went so well.
It of course, one of the things that is typically always really highly sought after event, I think at least it has been, especially over the last several years, is Powder Puff that is going to end up being on Wednesday night. I believe the time on that, I think it starts at 6, I think. I'd have to double check on that. But Powder Puff is always a really exciting time. I think we made some changes in the past out of necessity, and it's really become, that's just what we're going to end up doing, and that is moving that Powder Puff game inside rather than being outside. There's some elements of it you go, well, this year maybe it'd be nice to be out on the turf because it's brand new and everything else. But I'm going to tell you, I think it was about 4 I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, we ended up having, it was raining. It just wasn't an option. We were either going to have to cancel or we had to move it inside. And Matt had worked with Powder Puff game in Olympia, where he was from originally. And they had kind of the same thing happen. And he said, I've got some rules and guidelines to be able to run something like that from inside in the gym. And I go, well, let's do it. Let's try to make sure kids can have the opportunity to at least play, so we don't just have to cancel it. And we did that, and it was one of the most exciting Powder Puffs we'd ever have, in part because what it did is it kept two teams, regardless of how athletically gifted one team might be over another. It gave everybody a chance to end up winning. And what I like more than anything is it also provided our fans to be right there on top of the action. You know, the football field, you don't get that sense of how much they're enjoying and being a part of it because they're a little further away from where the action's actually going on. You get in that basketball in the gym, and all of a sudden everybody's right on top of you, and it's good and loud. It's an enjoyable experience. You get, again, two teams, regardless of whether one is maybe a little bit more athletic than the other, that are really able to compete and have a good time. It's just been a really successful thing. So as far as us, what our plans are moving forward, I think that will continue to become kind of the tradition to do that.
The homecoming parade is the centerpiece of the celebration. Wayne notes it takes a lot of work to make it happen, but it's worth it to watch the whole community come together. The parade is, of course, Friday.
It really is. It's a lot of work for those that are setting it up, between Nicole Binder and Joe Scanavino, who are the ones that are in charge of setting it all up and making sure that we contact who all wants to be involved in it and things like that. But it is such a wonderful opportunity. It's great to be involved in it and watching the whole community come and be a part of that celebration of, you know, whether we're talking about our bands that are performing for everybody, whether we're talking about our teams that are riding on floats that people can kind of see and celebrate that they maybe haven't seen it so much of, whether it's community groups that want to be involved in it. I just think it's a great opportunity for us to all come together for one same purpose, and that's really to celebrate Clinton, the community, Clinton, the high school, and really just Clinton School District.
The Maroons take on Tremont at home Friday to cap the week. That game will be at 7 p.m. Hear the action right here on WHOW and our many digital platforms. Still to come in news this morning, the Department of Natural Resources is promoting new hunting regulations for parts of central Illinois, and the St. Louis District Dairy Council is promoting yogurt, its versatility, and how it can help teens and their nutrition. Many may struggle to find work or hire employees, and a federal government service is here to help. Larry Peterson is employment specialist for Workforce Investment Solutions and explains they bridge the gap between employers and prospective employees at no charge to either party and use tax dollars to fight unemployment in Macon and DeWitt counties.
Workforce is located in Decatur. We serve both the Macon and DeWitt counties, and we're the federal, I guess you'd say, funding program to help both employers and job seekers maintain a good, healthy environment for their workers and their companies. So, like I said, we're the funding agency, so we do help workers find the exact training that they need. And for the employers, we can assist them, help find new employees, as well as train their existing employees. No charge. It's your federal tax dollars go into this, and the workforce groups, it's a nationwide program, and so even in Illinois, every county has representation. It's just part of the mandates coming from the federal government to say, we need a better and developed workforce, so let's help them, and we're the agency that carries that out.
Peterson says they do this by being involved with the community agencies and educational institutions in the two counties. While they do not perform the training themselves, they'll fund the training no matter what that may look like.
Well, basically, it's being involved with all the community agencies, the educational institutions. We don't actually do the training, but we pay for the training, whether it's sending somebody to a CNA school or LPN, or with a company. There is no charge to the companies when we actually place somebody on a job, or they hire somebody that qualifies, and that's the important word, that qualifies for our program. We can reimburse that company 50% of their wages while they learn the job.
Wow.
We're saying that the company, you're a better trainer than maybe going to the community college, because they're not exactly telling you what your company needs.
Right.
So let's help reimburse you those first few months of training, and you're getting 50% reduction in there, or not reduction, but reimbursement.
Peterson offers some advice for current job seekers, and that's to use their free service to its fullest extent. He says there's a couple of events coming up. One is today, and the other next Wednesday.
Take advantage of this service, whether you're applicable for our funding, which usually means if you've been laid off, you're eligible for our funding, or if your income for your family is at a certain level. That's what the government tells us. That's where our specialty is, and that's where we can help. So take advantage, even if you're not in those two groups. Come into our our workforce place on Pershing and Monroe, and it's called the One Stop Center. And so you can pick up tons of information, including this calendar of events for September, all the stuff. Might as well call and find out where it is. Here in DeWitt County, coming up this week, this Wednesday, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, Kurt Homan and Janice Peterson and myself will be at the theater downtown. I've understood there might be some free things been given away.
Awesome.
But we're here to talk about workforce in general. What's the economic climate? What's it doing? How can we help? Or what are we doing? Yes, on the 18th at John Warner Hospital, I think it starts at 1 o'clock. They're going to talk about the healthcare professions and what that might be an opportunity for job seekers.
Peterson reminds when job seeking, always use all the resources available to you. Call 217-875-8751 for workforce investment solutions or visit worknetdecatur.org. There's a change for the 2024 fall bow hunting season in parts of central Illinois. Department of Natural Resources Conservation Police Officer Trent Reeves indicates DNR officers are getting ready for the upcoming hunting season after a busy boating season.
That's one of the things I love about this job is we've been on the water all summer. We're doing one type of enforcement. Hunting season comes around, late summer, early fall, and then we kind of switch gears into the more traditional game warden work that we're all kind of known for. So, dove season opened as well as the early goose season opened on September 1st. Clinton Lake has a public field that they prepared for hunters on that opening weekend. The field was very well prepared by our park staff over there at Clinton Lake. Lots of sunflowers, lots of seed. And in fact, that cold snap that we had a couple weeks ago, we had more doves than any of us can ever remember being in that field. So we were all really excited for the prospect of opening day. They actually stayed through that cold front, which if the doves are going to leave, typically is during those colder times, they'll head south. They stayed through that cold front, so we were all really excited. For some reason or another, when we had that really hot snap just after that cold front, the triple-digit heat indexes and whatnot, they left, or most of them left anyway. So not as successful as what we thought was going to happen, but that opening day we had 43 hunters. They were able to harvest 123 doves on that opening day, and now the field is open. That opening day hunt was from noon to 5 p.m. Now that we're kind of past that opening weekend, that field is still open for the entirety of your hunting day. So sunrise to sunset, that field's open now for hunters to go up there and enjoy.
Population control drives the number of permits given in each season, and Officer Reeves explains there's a new policy for this year's harvest around the number of does allowed to be taken during the hunting.
Just like waterfowl, we abide by what those regulations are set, and those are set by biologists doing different population studies and adjusting those limits accordingly. So, doves, for example, you can harvest 15 per day. If there was any studies to be done in the future that show that our dove population is crashing or declining, those those limits would be adjusted accordingly. Most of our hunting seasons and limits and stuff, as well as fishing, for example, is regulated and done from biologists doing studies and kind of making a strongly educated guess on what our limits should be on a daily basis to kind of keep that population at a level that gives hunters opportunities and doesn't allow it to crash basically for harvesting. So the one thing when we're talking about the population control specifically is we do have some rather significant archery hunting changes for deer in some of our counties surrounding DeWitt here. DeWitt is not part of this, but Macon, Piatt, Douglas, Champaign, and Moultrie County specifically, and this will be the first year for this. In previous, 4 or 5 years, you were not allowed to harvest an antlerless deer or a doe from October 1 through October 15th, and that was in an effort to help the populations increase in those counties where, maybe some of the data that the biologists were able to collect through, vehicle car collision data and your harvest records, that they thought that there needed to be an increase in population in those counties specifically. So in the past, it's been October 1 through 15, no does harvested, bucks only. This year is the first year they have expanded that, so during the entire month of October, you will only be able to harvest bucks only with archery gear. Now, that does not apply, and this is the question I get all the time, that doesn't apply to our youth firearm season, which is October 12th through the 14th. During that season, there is no rule like that. So whatever you have a tag for, doe or buck, those youth hunters will be able to harvest whatever they have a tag for.
It's not too late to do a good once-over of those tree stands and other hunting equipment. Officer Rees implores hunters to give those stands a good inspection, as that's one of the top calls they receive.
Safety things, the one thing that we always employ every year is by far and away the most common accident that we see during hunting season is tree stand falls. So please go out there if you've got tree stands that have been up since last year, go up there and make sure that those straps are good. Sometimes squirrels will go up there and chew on those straps that are used to hang the tree stands with. Make sure those haven't been chewed on. If they have, replace your straps. Make sure your tree stands are secure. And then always wear a harness. There's a lot of products out there nowadays that basically keep you connected to a harness or a safety system from the second you leave the ground. So make sure that you wear a harness. That way we don't have any unfortunate tree stand falls this year.
Get more information about the upcoming hunting season at dnr.illinois.gov. Yogurt is a great source of nutrition, but it doesn't always have to go with berries and granola. Monica Nyman with the St. Louis District Dairy Council says there's many uses for yogurt in your day-to-day recipes. She says it complements all kinds of other foods.
Sure. So, yogurt is definitely very versatile, and it complements all other types of foods. You can pair it with, fruits and vegetables and whole grains, all different types of things. So I just wanted to give listeners some examples today of things that you might not be thinking of when it comes to serving yogurt. So first of all, you can serve a yogurt parfait. That can be something that you can make ahead of time that your kids can just grab out of the refrigerator. So, have yogurt, layer that with maybe some mixed nuts and berries, even a little bit of granola. And so kind of that combination gives them lots of important nutrients by sort of layering all of those different food groups. And so when I talk about savory things with yogurt, I basically mean plain yogurt, because you can add a lot of flavor to plain yogurt and sort of change the taste of it. So, you can make a dip using that plain yogurt as a base. You can put, a little bit of low sodium taco seasoning in it. You can put ranch powder, maybe Italian seasoning, and those are all great ways to make a dip that you can serve with vegetables. A lot of times kids don't like to eat vegetables unless they have maybe cheese on them, or maybe a dip that has a yogurt base to it.
Yogurt also makes a great substitute in many recipes that call for sour cream. According to Nyman, it can even go on things like baked potatoes and tacos.
Another thing that you can use plain yogurt for is anywhere that you would really use sour cream. And so I like to put it on baked potatoes, or even our taco dinners that we have at night. We usually have tacos about once every 2 weeks or something like that. And my older son, he loves sour cream, and he puts a ton of sour cream on his tacos. But if I provide him with plain Greek yogurt, that's giving him lots of nutrition versus just the calories that may be just in sour cream. So you can use that sort of as a swap in many of the different foods that you're eating.
Nyman also notes she has trouble telling the difference between sour cream and Greek yogurt sometimes. If prepared correctly, it can have the same consistency and flavor.
Yeah, even for myself, when I use plain Greek yogurt instead of sour cream, I don't even notice the difference, because it still has the same consistency. Just make sure you stir it up really good. It has the same flavor. It's kind of that sour taste, which is why a lot of people don't like to eat plain Greek yogurt by itself. It is very sour. You have to add something to it to sort of be able to have that. My kids don't notice the difference at all. But also keep in mind, I mentioned my kids are in high school, and one of them, the older one in particular, he is a little bit more interested in nutrition. So he knows that Greek yogurt has protein in it. He reaches for that for snacks and for lunches. And so for him, he knows that he's just adding some high quality protein to his baked potato or his tacos when he puts that on there. But I would challenge listeners to try it, because you're probably not going to notice the difference.
Visit stldairycouncil.org for more information and recipes like a pizza dough that has yogurt. You can also find them on social media using the handle at STL Dairy Council. 28 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. We've got more to come on the morning show.
The Chevrolet Silverado is ready to work for you. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we've got a great selection of 24 Silverados in regular cab, double cab, and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Our 3-liter Duramax diesel gets fantastic fuel mileage, 20 city, 30 highway, while working for you. We have 6.6 engines in gas or diesel for our HD Silverados as well. Come see our inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
News time, 29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. A new report from the Better Business Bureau outlines social media scams may come as a shock. In the past, scammers used text to obtain financial information, but hackers and scammers are turning to where most are, and that's social media. For BBB, the scams are no joke. Don O'Brien is a scam investigator.
Social media scams, Blake, have really taken off, and our BBB scam tracker, which you can find at bbb.org. It's a place where people can go read about scams, report scams. And we had a 63.8% increase from 22 to 2023 where people told us that, hey, I first learned of the scam on social media.
Again, that website is bbb.org, where you can file a report. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump firing verbal volleys at each other, and they made a boatload of promises during last night's presidential debate in Philadelphia. Things did get testy at times as two candidates sparred in what could be their only debate of the campaign. The close to 3,000 people who died in the 9/11 terror attacks are being remembered today. Ceremonies at Ground Zero in New York and elsewhere on this 23rd anniversary of the terror attacks. Fears of a deadly storm surge as Hurricane Francine zeroes in on the coast of Louisiana. Landfall expected this afternoon or this evening. Secretary of State Blinken and his British counterpart visiting Ukraine. This as Kiev pushes for permission to fire long-range missiles into Russia. Dow futures down 125, NASDAQ futures off 16 points. This is SRN News.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. If you're going to be a playoff football team, you're going to have to travel and take care of the details. Coach Ron Bass says his Clinton Maroons football team was not ready to play Friday night when they traveled to Alton Marquette, ultimately coming away with a 35-7 road victory in non-conference high school football action. Despite that, Coach Bass says the kids rebounded and buckled down, able to come out with the victory.
We definitely left some points on the table tonight, but I told our kids this is a good experience to be able to drive 2 hours, 2+ hours. Mm-hmm. You know, if we're going to be a playoff team, you know, you're going to have to travel sometimes 2+ hours. And so you've got to be able to be focused and take care of details and be ready to play. And so I felt like we weren't ready to play. The kids tightened down and there in the second quarter, we started making some plays and then we started rolling. So
Coach Bass credited Alton Marquette for their game plan and ability to slow the Maroons offense, but also praised his team's ability to respond to adversity.
Up front, they did really well. I mean, we had some issues up front as far as being able to get them blocked, and defensively, they had a nice drive. Kudos to their coach, their coaching staff. Their drive coming out of halftime was solid. We went to a 6-man front against their 10 personnel, and they did a nice job up front of washing us down and creating running lanes, which that's why they were able to score there. They had a couple good runs. So, but we ended up adjusting. We went to our nickel front, and like I said to our kids, it's good to experience some of this where we got to make an adjustment. Things aren't going to always work the way we plan them. So overall, I was really pleased with just things that happened. I also told them, defensively, yeah, we gave up a score. You're not going to, pitch shutouts the entire year.
Right.
The other team practices too. So yeah, how we had responded to adversity, and I was pleased.
Keaton Graves and Colton Walker continue to pace the Maroons' offense. Coach Bass points out Graves did a good job leading the team when they needed a score, and Walker continues to make an impact on both sides of the ball.
He had a great night, and I was telling him on the bench, I said, this is why we've got you in this position, because of your ability to make people miss. And there was a couple plays where he teleports. He's there 1 second, two defenders crash into each other because they think they got him, and that's an important thing to have by having him have the ball as much as we possibly can. And so he did a good job. He did a good job throwing tonight too. No, I mean, he was a difference maker tonight. When we needed to keep our 3-score lead, he responded. Interceptions again. I mean, he's on track for to be the all-time interception leader at Clinton. I'm not really huge into individual awards, but I think that's kind of cool.
Definitely, absolutely.
He offense, defense, he's all over the place.
It's homecoming week at Clinton High School. The Maroons host Tremont Friday night. Hear all the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms starting at 7. Coming into Monticello's Week 2 matchup at IVC, head coach Coley Welter wanted his team to be more physical and more ready at the snap. The Hall of Fame football coach thought his team showed improvement in those areas despite a slow start to the second half, where the Sages allowed the Gray Ghosts to march down the field on the opening possession for a score, then a special teams miscue that led to another score by IVC.
First half, we really have pretty pleased with the first half. We really emphasized getting a fast start after last week, and just in general, I think it was important. We didn't want to give IVC any thoughts that we felt we were the better team. We didn't want them to get any thoughts that they could play with us or stay in the game, and we want to take care of things early. So we're happy with the first half. A little disappointed in the second half. That's just, we emphasize every time you step on the field, you got to be ready to go, and we got a little complacent to start second half. I was pretty pleased with how we defended the run early. I thought that was good. I thought we showed that we were ready to play. And then really the second half wasn't really about being physical. They caught us in a couple blitzes, but just maybe on our heels a little bit. But I thought for the most part we played much more physical tonight.
Ike Young had a monster game for Monticello at the quarterback position with nearly 400 yards of total offense. Top receiver Carter Foran also had another 100-yard receiving game. Coach Welter says it's nice to have Young's ability to improvise when things break down and Foran's steady presence down the field.
You said it. He has the ability to improvise, which is nice. When things do break down, he can make some plays, and it's just nice to have that quality. But I thought other times he executed well, made good reads, kept his eyes up, and had a really solid game overall. That's something they know Ike can do, so that's an opportunity for them to get the ball. But Carter's very smart, a good route runner, understands where he's supposed to be, spacing, and to your point, when things break down, he knows to get into the scramble drill and keep the play alive. We knew coming into the year he was going to be the primary, more so than other years. We generally have a pretty good collection of receivers, and I think we do now, but he's the guy that's been there, done that. Nolan's coming along pretty well. Like I said last week, Russ had a pretty good game. We've got other guys that can make plays, but he's the guy right now, and he's doing well.
Monticello welcomes Matt Toon to Monticello High School this Friday night. Hear the action starting with a pregame around 6:45 on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nils Pfaff scored 4 goals, and Blue Ridge blanked Judah Christian 4-0 in high school soccer action Tuesday in Farmer City. Josh Berkler, Indra Nolan, and Ben Clevenger had assists on Pfaff's goals. Goalie Devin Ressler added an assist and 4 saves in net for the Knights. Lane Thomas hit a 3-run homer, and Cleveland's bullpen was terrific once again, helping the Guardians blank the White Sox 5-0 Tuesday night after Ben Lively departed with a leg injury.
It was a 5-0 loss for the Sox, who have now dropped 20 straight series dating back to late June. Starter Jonathan Cannon went 5 1/3, giving up 3 runs on 7 hits and a walk. Another young Sox pitcher, Sean Burke, made his debut tonight, going 3 innings, giving up 3 hits and a run, striking out 3. Here's his first major league strikeout.
2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Curveball for the first major league strikeout for Sean Burke.
Burke is expected to make a start the next time through the rotation. The Sox look to avoid the sweep tomorrow against the Guardians before a day off on Thursday. Davis Martin on the mound for the Sox, Matthew Boyd for the Guardians. It's a 1:10 first pitch, 12:30 pregame show, right here on the ESPN Chicago Hard Rock Casino White Sox Radio Network.
With the Sox off day Thursday, they'll return to the WHOW airwaves on Sunday with Clinton High School football Friday night and Eastern Illinois football Saturday night here on WHOW. The Cubs rallied for the tying and go-ahead runs in a 5-run 8th inning when the LA Dodgers committed 3 errors in a 6-3 loss to Chicago Tuesday night that featured a matchup of Japanese pitchers Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shota Imanaga. The NL West leading Dodgers blew a 3-1 lead and lost to the Cubs for a second straight night, assuring their first series loss since August 5th through the 7th, visiting Philadelphia. LA's division lead was cut to 4.5 games over the second-place Padres. Chicago, meanwhile, is 4 back of Atlanta and the Mets, who are tied for the last NL wildcard spot. Center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong robbed Max Muncy of a potential 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 9th. Yamamoto struck out his first 4 batters of his first start in nearly 3 months, facing off against Chicago's Imanaga in a matchup of former Japanese big league rivals pitching against each other for the first time in the majors. Imanaga allowed 3 runs and 7 hits in 7 innings. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Saya Suzuki went 3 for 5 with a run. Shohei Ohtani was hitless in 4 at-bats and remains 4 homers and 3 stolen bases from becoming the first player in big league history to achieve a 50-50 season. Tommy Edman homered twice on 2 pitches from Imanaga to give the Dodgers a 2-1 lead. Cubs right-hander Jordan Wicks is 1-1 since coming off the injured list on September 1st. Meanwhile, Dodgers right-hander Bobby Miller tries to avoid a second straight loss. That's the pitching matchup in L.A. TJ Friedel had a 2-run single, and Cincinnati scored Cincinnati's other run, all in the 5th inning, as the Reds beat the Cardinals 3-0 Tuesday night. The Reds' Ellie De La Cruz stole 2 bases after walking in the first inning, raising his big league total to 64 stolen bases. He was thrown out in the 3rd inning when the Cardinals pitched out. Rhett Lauder earned his first win in his 3rd big league appearance. The 22-year-old right-hander, who was a first-round pick in the 2023 draft, worked 5 scoreless innings and finished with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Emilio Pagan pitched the 9th for his first save this season and 33rd of his career. He loaded the bases on 2 singles and a walk before striking out the next 3. Rookies Jordan Walker and Thomas Segazy, then pinch hitter Matt Carpenter. Andre Palante went 5 innings, allowing 3 runs on 6 hits. He struck out 6 with 5 walks, a balk, and a wild pitch. Reds manager David Bell was ejected in the 6th inning after De La Cruz was called out on strikes. It was Bell's 5th ejection this season and 32nd of his career. Brendan Donovan had 3 singles and 4 at-bats for the Cardinals. Lance Lynn is 9-1 with a 2.11 ERA in 10 career appearances against Cincinnati at Busch Stadium. The Reds have not announced a starter. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Today, with daytime highs approaching 86. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 57. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. High temperatures reach up to 85. Tomorrow, cloudy skies expected. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, 50.